and a budget performance report prepared by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation and the Budget Office shows Nigeria's debt service to revenue ratio is about 99.2%. The data show that of the 4.26 trillion naira total revenue available for financing in the 2022 budget and the first 3 quarters of last year, a sum of 4.23 trillion naira went into debt financing. Well, joining me now is Honorable Philip, who is a member House of Representatives, joining me from our Abuja studio. Great to have you in the show. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. So I will see the president's request to extract 500 billion naira from the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act to provide, palliatives aimed at cushioning the effect of, fuel subsidy removal and, reducing the pressure on consumers. But that has been reviewed now. What's your take on this revision on the 8,000 naira that's supposed to be shared to the vulnerable?
Yes, the earlier request, the National Assembly vis-a-vis the House of Representatives was actually the first to articulate the need for palliatives to be provided. We did that under our leader, the Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, who is the Speaker, and the executive promptly responded to it by sending the supplementary budget to us. We again carrying out both our representative function and our lawmaking function. We met and we deliberated on the request by Mr. President, and the approval was given for the 500 billion naira to be used for the purpose of cushioning the effect of the fuel subsidy removal. We have all accepted before now that yes, the removal of fuel subsidy is not going to leave us with initial pains. However, Nigerians are ready to pay the full price so that we can enjoy our resources that God has given to us.
And tell me about this amendment now. Why was it amended? Why was the approval so fast? Did the National Assembly evaluate, this amendment critically?
Yes, because across the 360 federal constituency in this country, there's virtually no place that is left out of the sufferings and yearnings of the people. The inflation is biting hard on everybody. Every single Nigeria is being affected as a result of the fuel subsidy removal policy. And for a responsible House under the leadership of the Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, we took an oath to protect and project and promote the interests of the Nigerian masses, to represent them. And we are here to do exactly that. It is too early for anybody to renege on his campaign promises. We want a better living condition for the Nigerian masses. We are here to serve our people. We are here to serve the interests of every single citizen of this country, including those who have been benefiting from the fuel subsidy regime. And we, in our wisdom as a House, we decided to say, yes, what Mr. President has requested for is very apt, is very correct. Nigerians have been commending him. Even in the House of Representatives, we did that too. And we didn't just stop there. We made some recommendations on how the money should be spent. And we agreed that as part of our oversight function, a special committee will be set up by the House to monitor the disbursement of the fund, the utilization of the fund, to ensure that the last kobo from that 500 billion naira gets to the last Nigerian citizen that the money is meant for. And again, we also agreed that we made suggestions to Mr. President on the dear areas that should be given immediate attention, so that Nigerians, will not feel the pains of the subsidy removal as it is at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely really painful right now. The consumer is squeezed on every side. But can you just paint a picture of some of the recommendations and suggestions that the House has made to the President?
Yes, before now, we've taken a couple of motions, discussing the issue of palliatives, urging the federal government to provide palliatives to intervene, because our constituents are suffering across the country. One of those interventions recommended by the 10th House of Representatives under the leadership of our amiable Speaker, the Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. One is to find a way to provide buses to help in reducing the cost of transportation of goods and services from one locality to another. Part of the quick wins, we equally recommended as part of our parliamentary duties that some of the roads across the countries, should be given immediate and urgent attention, so that as you're also buying fuel at a very high rate, the roads are also good, because the situation of Nigerian roads today is such that it takes more than 3-4 hours for a journey that should ordinarily take less than 20 minutes to be carried out. And the colleagues in the House have identified some of these areas, some of these roads that require immediate and urgent attention across the country. If you've been following our debates in the House, you've seen us talk about roads in Enugu, roads in Benue, Katsina, and every part of the country to ensure that there's smooth and easy passage of goods and services from the localities where they are produced to the market. We equally discussed the issue of insecurity. Mr. President, in his wisdom, has appointed new service chiefs. They've been confirmed by both houses of the National Assembly. So we're looking forward to better security situation across the country. We're encouraging the new service chiefs, particularly the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, and all of them, including the new NSA, that they will do something, practically to make Nigerian citizens feel safer, so that our farmers will be able to return to their farms, produce what they can, and then all of us will work together. We'll continue to take feedback from the people if these 3-4 recommendations are met, to see what next. And as a House, our processes are ongoing. We'll continue to sit, continue to discuss with our people back to see what they want, because our functions are 3. Representative function, which of course we discuss directly with our people back in our various communities, and we bring them to the floor of the House. Of course, we sit down, we make new laws, and then we oversight. So this new leadership under Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, by the special grace of God, we are going to make sure that these 3 cardinal objectives of the House, we meet them, we surpass the expectation of the average Nigerian. And by God's grace, I think things will get to normal as soon as possible.
We do need things back to normal as soon as possible. Still looking at that oversight, function of the House. How's the House going to see to it that vulnerable Nigerians are supported at this time? That it actually reaches the the right people. Not that a few that are better off still enjoy the benefits, and the vulnerable are still left alone.
Yes, one, the idea to remove fuel subsidy is to make sure that, yes, we is to make sure that we transit from that regime in the past where a certain cabal sit on the commonwealth of an entire nation of over 240 million persons, and these things are shared by them and put into private pockets at the detriment of the suffering masses. If you looked at what happened on February 25th, 2023, when this new set of legislators were voted into power, it was a clear expression of the yearnings of the Nigerian masses, in the sense that democracy was at work. The various federal constituencies went out despite the situation of things of the economy at that time as a result of a cash crunch, lack of fuel across the country. People indeed voted for people that they wanted to represent them. And then what we do in the House today is to aggregate the views of the over 360 federal constituency in a country, put them together, put the various opinions of the people into debate. We discuss it, and we come up with recommendations and solutions, that are in tandem. That's why during our debates, you see proposals in the prayers and amendments to the prayer. That is to say that what the member from Karana Moda is feeling can actually, be either spiced or rejected or approved by another member from Ishalangwa or by another member from Badagry. And that is what a house means. So what we do basically as a house is to make sure that the collective interest of the Nigerian masses is well protected to the extent that they are happy and everybody is happy, and the people are happy that they have voted us. And as a matter of fact, the 10th National Assembly, particularly the House of Representatives, we are doing everything under the leadership of our speaker to make sure that truly we make the difference. And the Nigerian masses, at the end of the day, have every reason, in another time again, to vote for the kind of people that they have voted today as their representatives in the House.
All right. Looking at, cutting costs of governance is dominating conversations right now. We've seen the likes of Senator, Benga Daniel asking the state government to stop his pensions, as a former governor. Consumers are having to sacrifice a lot to absorb the price increases, right now with sky-high inflation. What do you think should be done to reduce the cost of governance in Nigeria?
Yes, we have looked at the supplementary budget, the 2022 Appropriation Act, the 2023 is still in force. We'll be looking at that in the 2024 budget when it is when the executive presents it to the House. I am very sure I have full confidence in my colleagues. I've seen the caliber of people voted into office to represent the various federal constituencies at this point. And as a matter of fact, in the last few days, we've seen Nigerians talk about a certain 70 billion naira allocated to the National Assembly. And I want to use this opportunity to appeal to them and to make clarifications that money, the 70 billion naira, is neither for the senators, neither is it for members of the House of Representatives. It is actually the running cost, for the National Assembly. And a large chunk of that money will be going into provision of office, accommodation for the members who will be sitting. And in some instances, too, we talked about the issue of vehicles for senators and members of the House of Representatives, which I believe it is very important. But if at any point in time Nigerians consider that it is not okay by them for members of the National Assembly to be entitled to any form of vehicular movement, we don't mind. I think under the leadership of Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas and even our Senate President, senators are ready to go by way of camels, donkeys, and even bicycles if they are available. We are ready to make all the sacrifices, on a very serious note. We are ready to make every sacrifice to ensure that the masses are happy. And that is exactly why Mr. Speaker has encouraged us that the 10th Assembly, we are going to improve and improve on our oversight functions to ensure that there will be no leakages, because most of these leakages are not even around the legislature. The leakages exist in the executive. We don't have the luxury of resources as far as the National Assembly is concerned to play with funds. So the agencies, the departments of government who receive this appropriation when we carry them out are the ones who will be talking to, will be engaging them to make sure that they cut down on the cost of managing the administration to equally ensure that Nigerians are happy and part of these resources are plunged into the economy. Resources go into the building of schools. The 10th House of Representatives at the moment, we are discussing with the Tertiary Education Fund to see how taxpayers' money, accruing to the fund is being utilized. And we're equally looking at the people that TED Fund has given the money to. So we are going to spring up some of these investigations, some of this legislative pally with members of the executive to ensure that, yes, people who are saddled with the responsibility deliver on these responsibilities to the best of their capacity and even in tandem with existing laws in the country.
And I'm sure with, so many people right now struggling to actually feed, at this time, they would like to see some kind of, camaraderie from the government, some kind of trimming, when it comes to, some of the monies the government actually gets at this time. We would like to see that. What kind of conversations, are being had to, show us, some kind of, empathy and say that, what, we are cutting down on this. We're cutting down on spending on maybe cars and all of those excesses to be able to help Nigerians feed.
We are just coming on board. So it is the National Assembly Service Commission that determines most of the things that get to us. But as part of our feelings as legislators, we're equally ready to make sacrifices. So we'll be looking at proposals that will be put forward to us by the National Assembly Service Commission and proposals that will also be put forward to us by the executive. with what we do, we are just entitled to 5 staff as legislators, and for many persons, for me, I have 35 wards to oversight. In this constituency, executive projects are going on. So what I would say is that we are all going to double our efforts, because what was there in the past, if we all agree that there was truly a problem and corruption was the issue, was not even the fact that not enough resources was being allocated, but the fact that what was allocated in the past was not put into proper use. And that is going to be the focus of the 10th Assembly. And I believe that with the level of transparency, accountability, and probity that we have displayed so far in the last 30 days of our sittings and meetings as a house, Nigerians are actually impressed that, yes, for the first time, this house is getting things right. And it is also to appeal to the Nigerian masses. The Nigerian legislator is actually a very vulnerable one, because since I came on board as a legislator, I haven't seen the Ghana must goals that we were fed with. And some of these bogus claims that we see on social media as part of the money being given to us, they are not actually correct.
All right.
And I understand that some of my colleagues ran the elections, based on some of these fake stories that they were fed with in the past. And today we are being faced with the reality of the house. The house is not in terms of those who want resources, those who are looking for money. The house is actually not the best of places to be in terms of service to the country.
All right.
The legislator in Nigeria is entitled, in very few cases, entitled to just a car.
All right, Honorable Philip, we definitely would like to see, more, coming from the government in terms of cutting cost of governance and, alleviating the pains, Nigerians are suffering, at this time. But thank you so much for coming on the show, Honorable Philip Agbese, member of House of Representatives. Great having you. Thank you.